Hi there, and welcome to EGAL's video series on 2S LGBTQI family planning. I'm Aruna Budram, and I'll be your host as we discuss family planning and assisted reproductive technologies for 2S LGBTQI communities in the Ontario context. In this episode, we'll be discussing Chiboise's question regarding leftover embryos. Chiboise tweeted, "My partner and I have 3 children, and no, we do not want any more. We have embryos left that have been frozen for the past 6 years at our fertility clinic, and we are finding it hard to decide what to do with them. We don't want to keep paying for their storage. What are our options?" This is such a common question for families with frozen embryos. Let's get into it. The decision of what to do with any remaining embryos after you've finished building your family is a deeply personal one, and the options available to you can vary from clinic to clinic. We'll go over the 4 options that are legally available: disposal, donation to another family, donation for research, and donation for training. In addition to knowing your legal options, it's important to take your time to consider the emotional and psychological impacts your choice may have on you, your partner, and your family in the short and long term before making any decisions. An important note to begin with: Canadian law is very strict when it comes to human genetic and reproductive material. What this means for you is that at every decision point along your family planning journey, you must reconfirm in writing that you are giving informed consent regarding what is happening to your embryos. If at any time you change your mind before they have been used or disposed of, you are able to rescind that consent. This all must be done in writing and provided to the donation recipients as soon as possible. Everything we will be talking about is from the Assisted Human Reproduction Act, which became law in March of 2004. The regulations came into effect December 1st, 2007, and all material relevant to the Act must abide by this legislation. If your embryos or reproductive material were donated before December 1st, 2007, you will need to simply sign a consent form if you wish to be exempt from the updated legislation. If this is the case for you, please contact a lawyer that specializes in fertility law. The first option is to dispose of your embryos. This is often what happens if you decide to no longer pay for storage. In this scenario, the clinic disposes of your embryos and ensures that all DNA and genetic material is destroyed and unusable. The paperwork you signed declaring your wish to keep your embryos frozen until further notice would have also included this option. If this is the route you would like to take, you will need to contact the fertility clinic that is storing them and discuss signing the consent and paperwork to dispose of them. Although this sounds fairly straightforward, many people have shared that this is a hard decision to make, even with a complete family. The IVF process can take many tolls on your mental and physical well-being, and embryos are part of that journey. Consider speaking to a therapist about the impact if that's useful to you in your decision. Another option is donation to another family seeking an embryo for themselves or their surrogate. If you decide you want to donate your embryo to another family, you can do this through a fertility clinic embryo donation program or through a private embryo donation organization. All of this requires your full and informed written consent, and you will not have parental rights over the child that is born from a donated embryo. For this reason, some clinics require donors to attend counseling sessions to ensure that they understand the impact of donating their embryo, especially when they're already living children from the same embryonic family. If you don't want to donate your embryos to another family, you can choose to donate them to scientific or stem cell research. This can sometimes be done through the fertility clinic itself if they have those facilities or partnerships with local hospitals or medical research institutions. Canadian law prohibits the creation of embryos for the sole purpose of research, which means that medical researchers must rely on donated embryos for their work. If you choose this route, you can often choose what type of research or facility you would like to be donated to and will need to complete the related consent forms. Lastly, you can choose to donate your embryos to the clinic or another facility that will use them to practice and instruct in the processes and procedures of assisted reproduction. Fertility clinics will often use donated embryos for their physicians and embryologists to learn, train, others and continue sharpening their skills for future patients. All genetic materials donated for training are disposed of afterwards according to Health Canada standards. In the event that one of your partners passes away, you have ideally written a will that includes the embryos and what you would like to do with them. Canadian law states that if a person dies, their spouse or their common law partner is able to use their embryos to continue family planning, or they can have them donated if there are not explicit instructions given by the deceased. As I mentioned earlier, when you and your partner originally began the IVF process, and at any decision point thereafter, you would have had to sign paperwork with your fertility clinic. It's important that you read carefully, understand the fine print, and keep copies of everything that you sign. If you have questions about the options being offered to you, ask to speak to your fertility doctor or someone at the clinic or to a fertility lawyer if you still have questions. To recap, there are several options available to those who have embryos frozen in storage. The options have different outcomes and potential impacts depending on how you view your embryos and your genetic material. If you dispose of the embryos, you are letting go of them and they are destroyed. If you choose to donate, those options require a bit more thought and processing in terms of consent and how it will feel for you and your family to have your embryos given to another family or used in research or training. There are no right answers other than the one that you decide that's best for you. Whatever route you are considering, be sure to ask as many questions as you need to feel comfortable and take your time before making a decision. The law is clear that discrimination based on someone's gender, gender expression, or sexual orientation is not allowed. 2S LGBTQI people have all the same rights to assisted reproduction technologies and their choices as anyone else. However, 2S LGBTQI people may still unexpectedly encounter barriers in their family planning journey because of their identity. For this reason, it is critical that you engage a family or fertility lawyer sensitive to 2S LGBTQI identities and experiences. For more information and videos covering your questions related to 2S LGBTQI family planning through assisted reproduction, visit our program website at the link in the description below. And don't forget to like and subscribe to our channel on YouTube and follow us at EGAL Canada on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and LinkedIn.